we saw verse 24 of chapter 9 of Daniel. Now today we are going to see what Gabriel has to tell Daniel in verses 25 and 26. So Gabriel is saying in verse 25 to Daniel, so you are to know and discern that from the issuing of a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the Messiah, the Prince, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be built again with plaza and moat, and even in times of distress. Verse 26 says, then after 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and have nothing. And the people of the prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and its end will come with a flood. Even to the end there will be war. Desolations are determined. So this is what angel Gabriel is telling Daniel. So let us just decode this meaning. So the division of 77s, the division of 70 groups of 7 years, that is 490 years, that division is given by Gabriel to Daniel. So the 490 period of years is divided into 3 segments. First is 7 sevens, that means 7 groups of 7 years. That means 49 years, that is one group. The second group is 62 sevens, that is 62 groups of 7 years, that is 434 years. And the last one is 1/7, that is one group of 7 years. So the first period of 49 years, that is 7 sevens or 7 group of 7 years, that is 49 years. It may refer to the time taken for rebuilding the city of Jerusalem. So this decree was by the orders of King Artaxerxes, that it covers the period from 444 BC to 395 BC. It will take that much time to build adequate housing, the streets of Jerusalem, and the trench. That is the first group. Now coming to the second group, that is 62 groups of 7 years or 62 sevens, that is 434 years. It is extended up to the introduction of the Messiah to the nation of Israel. This period is extending up till the appearance of the Messiah to the nation of Israel. So this second period has concluded on the day of triumphal entry, that is of Palm Sunday, just before Christ was cut off and crucified. So these 2 groups have been completed, 7 groups of 7 years and 62 groups of 7 years have been completed in the history of Israel. It was fulfilled because Zechariah chapter 9 verse 9 prophesied it. It was fulfilled on Palm Sunday because he says, rejoice, daughter of Zion, shout, daughter of Jerusalem, see your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly, riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of an ass. So 7 sevens and 62 groups of 7 years were fulfilled when Christ came into Jerusalem riding on a donkey. So on this day, Jesus presented himself as the Messiah to the nation of Israel. Now, the first two segments of this important time period are 7 sevens, that is 49 years, and 62 groups of 7 years, that is 34 years. So total, which has been covered by Christ's triumphal entry, is a total of 483 years. That is the period covering March 5th, 444 BC to March 30th, AD 33. So the above total is of 483 years. Now Daniel in chapter 9 and verse 26 says that after the 62 sevens, after this group of 62 of 7 years is completed, the anointed one will be put to death and will have nothing. So once 483 years were completed in AD 33, Christ was crucified. The anointed one was not cut off in the 70th seven. He was cut off after the 7 group of 7 years and 60 group of 62 years. 62 groups of 7 years. He was not cut off in the 70th year. He was cut off before that. So there is an interval between the 69th group, that is 62 plus 7 years, 69 years, and one group is left, that is 70th year. 7 groups are 71 year. One group of 7 years. So Christ's triumphal entry concluded the 69 groups of 7 years, or 69/7. So Christ's crucifixion was in that interval. So the present church age today is in the interval between the 69 sevens and the 70th seven. So the last group, one group of 70 years, 7 group of 7 years has to be fulfilled. See, 69 groups of 7 years is fulfilled in the history of Christ. After that, there's a gap. There's a big gap. Now we are in 2024. So from 33 AD till future time, one group has yet to be completed, the 70th 769 groups of 7 years is completed. One group is left, that is the 70th 7. So the fact that he says that the anointed one will be put to death refers to Christ's crucifixion. He would have nothing. That is what he said. So Israel had rejected him and he would have nothing. So his kingdom could not be set up at that time. He did not set up an earthly kingdom at that time. He set up a kingdom in people's hearts. And finally, at that time, he did not receive royal glory either as the king on David's throne over all Israel. Are you seeing this? So in John chapter 1, verse 11, he says, he came into his own and his own did not receive him. So Christ came to his own people, the people of Israel, but they rejected him. Now finishing chapter 9 and verse 26 of Daniel, this prophecy continues further until Jerusalem would be destroyed. So Jesus also warned that Jerusalem will be destroyed by the Gentiles. Remember in Matthew 24, he told his disciples, not when they were admiring the temple, Herod's temple, he said, not one stone will be left upon another. And actually in 70 AD, Titus the general, he destroyed Jerusalem under Emperor Nero. And this Gabriel also said that the suffering of the nation would continue till the end, that is, till the prophecy of the 77s are completely fulfilled. So we have seen that in the history of Israel, 69 groups of 7 years have been completed, and there is a gap now in the history of Israel, because this is the grace period when Christ is gathering up the number of Gentiles to be completed. So what is left to be fulfilled in the history of Israel is a 7-year period that has to be fulfilled, and it is called the 70th seven. I hope you're finding this interesting, and sorry that the explanation is running over time, but it's all linked together. I couldn't break it up so that your understanding would not be, confused. So we will see the 70th seven next time, or the 7-year period that is yet to be fulfilled in the history of Israel. God be praised.